Aboraboye. How's everyone? This is Idin Ifa Temple. I'm a little Fakola Day. Checking in.
Aboraboye. Gbogbo awo. Babaláwo èèyàn ìbọrù bọyè òyàn.
Aboraboye, this is a little Fakola Day of Idin Ifa Temple. Good morning and happy Father's Day to all the good fathers, the good men out there. We want to send a big shout out to y'all. So let us begin with morning prayers. Ashe. Mojuba oloro, mojuba leda, mojuba loro mare, mojuba bobo romale, mojuba bobo imale, mojuba bobo ekun tembili soloro mare. Mojuba Miss Mother dear Lucy Dance Murray, mojuba Doris Hall, mojuba Basemer Senior, mojuba Alfred Daniels, mojuba Clifford Daniels Watkins, mojuba Dolly, mojuba Zion, mojuba Nago, mojuba Clifford Holmes, mojuba Clifford Watkins, mojuba Kenny Dunn, mojuba Katie Bradley, mojuba Oscar Bradley, mojuba James Owens, mojuba Benino Chin. One Vilmon, no block our Dennis, same Vilmon, mojuba Bobo Ekun, Cindy Lucy, no matter. Ejiogbe, he who hears people's pleas and accepts a plea. He who hears people's pleas and approves of pleas, he who talks to people and ensures that the talk is completely absorbed. He who hears people's pleas and accepts the pleas and name refile. He who hears people's pleas and approves pleas and name Eshua Dara. He who talks to people and ensures that the talk is completely absorbed is the name of Orishanla. Orishanla, you the person amongst human beings. Person amongst one cannot felt him person. Strike for us is one summer's day, rainfall. The bullfrog is one summer's downpour. It is whatever the original poem. Choose tells earth, worth it accepts. Whatever the big rat tells earth, worth it accepts. All what I tell you, Father, please accept and approve them. Alterate, to show gratitude upon gratitude is all about gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the all about benevolence. Whoever does not show gratitude for yesterday's benevolence, such a person will not receive today's retreat. This is Death Grace C5 to the 21 room left. We're going to marry your boy, daughter of Shubuju. I'm grateful. I see my gratuity. I'm grateful for yesterday's favor. I so see today's gratuity. Oh, to Arete, we are very grateful. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Àwa dúpẹ́, àná àwa bore tó nẹ́pọ̀ Olódùmarè. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Adúpẹ́ àná àwa bore tó nẹ́pọ̀ orí ẹni. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Adúpẹ́ àná àwa bore tó nẹ́pọ̀ ìrúnmọ̀lẹ̀. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Adúpẹ́ àná àwa bore tó nẹ́pọ̀ lẹ́gùn lọ́rìṣà. Àwa dúpẹ́, àbúrè. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bore. Adúpẹ́ àná àwa bore tó nẹ́pọ̀. Olódùmarè and the divinities, we ask that you would forgive us. Ward off all the things that we have done incorrectly and wrong. Forgive us. Counted again without two being be very difficult to consume. These were the declarations of Ifa to a tutu, the child of Agbeneregun, he who was full of bad character, he whose bad attitude had prevented him from entering Tifa's domain. Now we come to solicit on behalf of it, Tutu. We've come to beg on behalf of it, Tutu. Father, please be patient. Overlook this provocation. Those who beg on behalf of it, Tutu. How many children does Ifa have that he will cast one out? Those who beg on behalf of it, Tutu. Ifa. At this time, please continue to ward off all death, ward off all sickness, ward off cases, controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our advice ward off witchcraft and negative energies from us. Bring forth to us long life, good spouse, good children, longevity, prosperity, victory over adversity, peace of mind, joy, healing, success, and all the wonderful things of life. Please remove all the worries, the challenges of death, disease, destruction from us. Remove COVID-19, remove cancer, AIDS, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, all of the physical ailments that we're suffering from and the mental ailments that we might be suffering from. Please remove them at this time. Please bring in its place long life, good spouse, good children, healing, victory. Okay, Lara Rumla says it's time to sleep. I echoed it's time to sleep. When the day dawned, I met a Rumla in the 16th room where he covered his head with a flowing gown full of lice. He was wearing a dress full of bloodstains. He was snowing heavily. They told him that delegate from his disciple had arrived. The woman inquired about what the delegate brought. They told him that he brought 2 rats swift in running, 2 fish graceful in swimming, 2 birds swift in flight, and 2 goats with big livers. Aruna said that is not enough to wake him up. I admit my ignorance. Please educate me. Motuna Karaba, I hide myself in your bosom and survive. Motuna Karaba, the dog carrying masquerade who beats Agwadon repeatedly. The dog carrying masquerade who beats Agwadon repeatedly to perform rituals because the children. You are the leaders. We are the followers. Leaders are the ones who show the followers wisdom. Rumla told them to get alligator pepper, to get cola to get bitter cola, to get alcohol. Get capo, got the alligator pepper, you got the cola got the bitter cola, and you got the alcohol. That is right. Now he is fully awake. Rumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with eyes of compassion. It is with eyes of compassion that the heavenly stars used to look at the stars below. Rumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with your eyes which are one to secure great wealth. It is such good eyes that the heavenly stars used to look at the stars below. Rumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me with your eyes which help one to bear many children. In such good eyes, a child should use to look at a decorated plate. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of all the rain. Sure. Okay. Àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi ò àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí ìlú mọ̀lẹ̀ ó bà. Ifá ó bà ó àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi. Àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi ò àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí ìlú mọ̀lẹ̀ ó bà. Ifá ó bà ó àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi. Tí mo dúró, tí mo ṣe, tí mo kúnlẹ̀, tí mo súre, tí mo jókòó, tí mo súre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Tí mo dúró, tí mo súre, tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀, tí mo súre, tí mo kúnlẹ̀, tí mo súre, tí mo jókòó, tí mo súre, ire tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Now, let us put our hands on our Ori. Our Ori is our good luck charm. Ori ani larure ani o. Ori ani larure ani. Ori ani larure ani. Ori ani larure ani o. Ori ani larure ani. Mojulo mi ufawa mori. Ori ani larure ani. Bobore chansu. Ifá ó bà lọ́run. Antibachadu. Ifá ó bà lọ́run. Ó ṣe àrú ìlà Ifá ti bọ́. Bobore chansu. Ifá ó bà lọ́run. Antibachadu. Ifá ó bà lọ́run. Ó ṣe àrú ìlà Ifá ti bọ́. All and the divinities, please continue to ward off death, ward off sickness, ward off cases, controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our advice from us. Ward off negative forces. Bring forth to us long life, good spouses, good children, good homes, stable homes, peace of mind, all the good things of life. We ask for blessings for our divine fathers today. We ask that the masculine principle would show up in a positive and mighty way. Help us to understand the divine masculine today. We ask that all the Ashe of Oshetura would enter into our mouths. Oshe Arola, Akekene Bagisa. The extract sharply against the Trikasi Fafarumla, when he used to receive Batman share from all of the Mar. If no one to be wealthy, surely be wealthy. Akekene Bagisa, in the mountains, I was Atipana, in the mountain I will. If not to have joy, you surely joy. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an hour, Zazipana, the mouth of an hour. Not to have victory, surely victory. Akekene Bagisa, in the mouth of an hour, Zazipana. In the mouth of an hour. If not, you have all the good things of life. You should surely have all good things. So let's see. Maybe so surely shall it be. Tiny are the feet of Tubu. The stripe of a chameleon is not big enough to abuse his headgear. Had it been enough to abuse his headgear, I would have taken it home and adorned my head with it. These be 5 decorations to Arola when going on a spiritual mission to Edebolan. We've called locust bean syrup and pay her money. We've called on the salt seller and make her rich. We've called Oshe Aruela. Oshe Aruela is a good awo. Ashe. If I hear all of our prayers, guide us, direct us, protect us, and keep us safe. Ashe. Ashe. Aboraboy. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to remind you all to like and share, please. And if you like what we're doing, please tell other people about what we're doing so that other people can be blessed and we can expand. I want to talk briefly about what we're going to discuss today. Today, the topic is the makings of a man, Ifa, and honoring the faith of our fathers. So we want to honor our fathers today, honor the masculine principle. So with that said, I want to send out so many blessings to my own father and wish my father, Robert Edmonds, a happy Father's Day. Thank you for being such a great father and a great man, and continuing to be such a great father and a great man, a great husband. My parents have been married for over 52 years, and it's been a positive process. Just seeing that and that example is such an incredible example. I don't have any complaints about my father. I don't have anything negative to say about anything. If you are looking for stories of pain, despair, times I felt left alone, you won't find them here. Because my father has always stood up for me and for his family, for our whole family. So I send so many blessings out to my father, because if anyone likes or admires any aspect of the man that I might be, it is solely because of him. So I want to send a big Father's Day blessing to him and honor him. I want to send blessings out to Sholagbare Popola, my Baba Ifa, my teacher, who is a great father as well of all of us and teaching us so many things about Ifa, and not just Ifa, but also about life, and the many times I traveled with him, so many people thought, oh, that must be your son. And I didn't tell them otherwise. So that to me is an honor and a blessing for people to even say such things. I want to send shout outs to all the men who have come together to make the man that I have become. Men like Baba Dwayne Bradford of the Pan-African Associations of America, Baba Baye, thank you so much. Dennis Newsom, Master Preto Value, who taught so much about the African martial arts as my African martial arts teacher. Baba Fashegun, Baba Earl White, who has been such a great example for me, and I respect. Amos Dyson, Oluwanla Idawifa, and my friend and brother Agbola, Jose Rodriguez, so many to name, so many examples to name. Also, my first martial arts teacher, Master James Wilson, who has since passed on. Respect to him. So many examples of manhood and training to be a man and assisting in the process of becoming a man. So I want to send so many blessings and shout outs to those individuals who have been an example to me to assist me in being the man that I am today. Thank you. Thank you so much. And along with that, I want to send blessings and shout outs to all the individuals who support this programming, support this process. Maritza Clay, thank you so much. She's the one who makes our Elekes and Ides. Thank you. I want to send out member shout outs to, Ifa Dara, and send special prayers out for your son, Cordell. We want to send blessings for him. We're thankful and blessed to hear that he's doing much better. We want to send shout outs to my wife, Taylor, for all of her help and support, to Tanda Sizwe Shamaringa for your help and support, Awujola, Robin Edmonds for your assistance and support, Denise, to Miss Susanna, Jax, to Lil Zayden, to Annette Phillips. We want to send shout outs and blessings to you, all of you all. To Emmanuel, thank you so much for your support. To Maisha Walker Dean, thank you so much. And thank you, all of you all, for tuning in. To Kimmy, we want to send shout outs and blessings to you, Tamani Smart. Thank you so much. Many blessings to you. So we want to send all those blessings and shout outs to all of those folks who support us. We can't ever forget those who support us. And just want to pray for continued blessings for all of us. We did our Itarogun today, so we'll be talking about some of that after we talk about the message today. We had our Juneteenth celebration yesterday. It went well, and we'll be posting more videos and perhaps pictures from that later. And also the Odunifa for all of the temples under the Shekunderin family, Idin Ka, Oturtuka, Temple Ile Ayo. All of these temples will be coming together next week to do our Odunifa. So stay tuned for information about that. With that said, I just want to thank you all and get into the sermon. All right. Olodumare, we thank you for life, health, strength, food, clothing, and shelter. We thank you for this divine moment to discuss the divine masculine. Help us to, as we discuss this process, to inspire more divine masculine to show up as protectors, as healers, as brothers, as husbands, as fathers, as friends. Support us in that. Move me out of the way so that we can hear a word from Olodumare. We can hear a word of good Ifa. Ashe. Emma kami mene amo. Emma kami mene ano. Emma kami mene adelokun. Tamuole tori Ifa aloni mi. Epora timpane ni. Ene banami. Aun ati Ifa lelejo. Ashe. So we have so much to talk about today. And ain't no way to do it but to jump on in it. The divine masculine. What is the divine masculine? But before we talk about the divine masculine, we have to talk about the mess, because many men have it twisted. Men in America have it twisted up. And when I say twisted, we got it messed up. We don't have it right a lot of the times as a collective, not as individuals. When we talk of divine masculine, and then we have to put so many qualifiers around it. Part of the reason why we got to put so many qualifiers around masculinity and manhood is because oftentimes masculinity has meant a threat to femininity. Oftentimes men have done things in this world that have been destructive and misusing their power and physical force to create trauma that echoes into the generations of many women of this world. So as we analyze the divine masculine, we have to separate that from what people have, the euphemism, the term that has been circulating so much now has been the idea of toxic masculinity. And when we begin this discussion of the divine masculine, it's so sad that we, in the talk about the divine masculine and fatherhood and all these things, that we also have to, we can't avoid the discussion of toxic masculinity. And when we talk about that, what is that? I was watching a video the other day, and I forget the individual who was leading that talk, but it was a real short vid, very interesting video process. And what they were discussing was the idea of the alpha male versus the quote unquote simp or the beta male. And when we begin this discussion of what is a quote unquote alpha male and what is a beta male, all of those things, I want to get into a discussion of first of all, what is an alpha male? And when we look at alpha male, we have to look at alpha male from the perspective of, I want to look at it from the perspective of the animal kingdom. So in the animal kingdom, what does an alpha male do? We see the alpha male as, let's look at the lion kingdom. The alpha male is the male who, what does the alpha male lion do? The alpha male lion, oftentimes he sits back and he kind of chills out. And as he sits back and he chills out, what's also occurring is the lioness they go forward, and what do? They often do the bulk of the work and the hunting. Interesting point. They move forward and they go, and the women do the work of hunting, and the lion is there almost as if a figurehead of power. But the other thing that the male lion is doing is that male lion sticks around and he also raises the children. He is nurturing children and taking care of these children in order to see that genetic stock go into the future. Let's look at the wolf kingdom. The wolf kingdom, when the wolves hunt, the male wolf and the female wolf, they go out and hunt together. They go out and get it together. They go out and, as we say, they go and secure the bag together. And then they come back and the male wolf is there to nurture and raise children as well, right? And when we look at the animal kingdom in terms of the gorilla kingdom, the silverback gorilla, strong, forceful, but also what does he do? He's nurturing and taking care of the family. And much of the behavior of what we call an alpha male in the animal kingdom is behavior that people out here in the human kingdom would say, oh, that dude's a sucker. That's some lollipop stuff. He is a beta male. Thinking about this idea of the man and the woman working together to bring forth a household, to bring forth a family. When we look at so many alpha males in our society in the sense of forceful men that are like the John Wayne or the Shaft of the world, the attributes of Shaft, the attributes of John Wayne, when we think about it, do they have a family? Not all the time. Oftentimes, what do? They get the woman at the end of the movie, and then they go and leave. They impregnate her and then walk out the family's life. On to the next. Papa was a what? A rolling stone. So this is the idea of the alpha male in the human kingdom. Oftentimes we begin to attribute these abilities of nurturing a family, working together with your spouse, having a family, as things that are beta male or simp, sucker behavior. Those things are the reason why I say we as men in America have it twisted. Because the way that the Eurocentric concept of masculinity, what that has taught us, that what of the household, we negate much of the input of the feminine side. So let's see what Ifa says. In the Odu Ifa, Oshe Sa, Ifa says, whether Oshe fights or whether Oshe runs or does not run, mucus will still hit the ground and envelop itself in dirt. This was the Ifa cast for Ogun, for Shango, and for Orunmila when they were venturing into the war of Ilobinrin. They were all advised to offer a bow before they traveled. When they reached Ilobinrin, they could not keep them in captivity. When Orunmila went to travel to Ilobinrin town, he was told to offer a bow. He complied. He was asked to offer a bow with tassels. They told him, Orunmila, when you arrive there, do not use force. The women there will follow you. In this Odu, what happened is Ogun, Shango, and many of the other Irumale, when they ventured into the war of Ilobinrin. Ilobinrin is a town that's basically called the town of women. And when they went to this particular town, Ogun, Shango, all the other masculine Irumale, what did they do when they got there? They were forceful. They were like, look, girl, get over here. No, they were forceful, trying to control the feminine principle. And when they got there, Ifa says what happened is that they got beat up, basically. They got served. And when they got beat up and turned around, then they came back. Orunmila was like, wait, let me cast Ifa. He casted Ifa, and as he casted Ifa, Ifa said, when you go to Ilobinrin town, don't use force. Offer a bow with tassels, but it says basically cowtails. So Orunmila offered a bow with those things, and then I didn't chant this part of the verse, but what that Odu also says is go gently in a cruise. What it means is ease into that space. Yes. And what Orunmila did was he was dancing and he was entertaining the women. Mm-hmm. And as he danced and entertained the women, they the women were like, "Oh, he's cool."
Ashe.
And oftentimes when you are entering into a relationship, you can get more out of your relationship if you, one, ease your way in,
Ashe.
and two, oftentimes you get more flies with honey, with
Ashe.
sweetness, and not only sweetness, but you can sometimes get the thing that you want without asking.
Tell him, Bob. Go. Go.
You can get the thing that you want without asking when you come into the space, when you venture into the war of women with the correct attitude.
Ashe.
So when we talk about this, Ifa also talks about other aspects of leadership and what is not proper leadership. Ifa speaks in the Odu Ifa, Iwori Ayoka. Iwori on the right, Ika on the left. Ifa says, Iwori Ayoka is a very confusing Odu for an inexperienced Awo. We must go and get an elder to recite and analyze it. This was Ifa cast for Olu Ope when she was going to the market to use her money to purchase a husband. She was advised to offer a bow. She complied. Join us in the midst of Ire. So in this Ifa, what Ifa is talking about is the reason why Iwori Ayoka is a confusing verse for an inexperienced Awo is because the tables are turned. Because instead of the man going to, when it talks about going to the market to purchase, it doesn't literally mean purchase. What Ifa is saying and what Ifa means is different. What Ifa means is that she paid the bride price for the husband. Interesting. It reminds me of the diss record that Drake made against Meek Mill. When Meek Mill was dating Nicki Minaj, he said, "Shout out to all my boss wifing men." Basically, that Nicki wifed Meek Mill. What that means is she took a husband. She paid the bride price for Meek Mill. Interestingly enough, Ifa says that the tables are turned. That should not happen all the time. What should actually happen is the man should lead in the sense of paying. The man should be an individual who creates a home for his family.
Ashe.
It shouldn't be the other way around. Not saying that if that's the case, it's a bad thing, but the reality of it is we have to have male leadership that is healthy. And when we talk about that, the man is merely the outward representation of power and leadership. It's not like they're merely the figurehead.
That's right.
The internal, the real aspect of the leadership is the woman. Ifa says, or in Yoruba, a Yoruba proverb basically says that the man is the head of the house, but it is the woman that directs that head and moves that head and turns it in the direction. And why is it that when we're talking about fatherhood, we got to talk about motherhood too? It's deep, because now don't get it twisted. When we talk about motherhood, guess what? We got to talk about fatherhood.
Ashe.
So let's talk about what are things that we as men should look for. What, as a man, is a good father, a good husband? What are aspects they should look for in relationships? Ifa gives us many of these things in the Odu Otura Iwori. Ifa says, let the onlookers come and witness my performance. This was the Ifa cast for Iyawo, the newly married wife, when she was entering into the home of her husband. She was told to enter with her Ori and her destiny. She was also told to leave her beauty behind. It is beauty that lasts, that ends in only one day. One's Ori and one's character are what enable a person to be very successful in their matrimonial home. She was advised to offer a bow. She complied. Join us in the midst of beauty. Come and witness all array of life. Ifa is saying here on certain levels that this is what the Iyawo should enter into the house with, how she should enter the house. But the other thing that this Odu is saying is that it takes a wise man to look beyond physical appearance, to see the character. It is quality. This quality is what a man, a husband should look for in a wife. You should look beyond just the beauty, because that beauty ends in one day. What does that mean? It fades. But aside from the beauty fading, is like cute looks can get you so far. After a certain amount of time, it's like, oh man, she cute, but she a problem. Or he's cute, but he is a problem. That physical aspect of beauty only lasts for a very short time. Can you balance a checkbook? Can you create a home? Can you nurture children? Can you heal yourself? Do you have good character? Are you a person that is loyal? All of these things matter too. But oftentimes the emphasis is there's less emphasis played on those things. So as we talk about this, we want to talk about how should men act. Ifa says in the Odigund, which is one suggestion on how men should act. Ifa says, the knife is used to strike the back of the head of the fish. The blood poured profusely from the back of the crab. This was the Ifa cast for the awkward man who would eventually inherit the household of his father. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. I have inherited the prophet of the world. The awkward man is he who has inherited the prophet of his father's household. I am the one who will inherit the prophet of the world. What is this Ifa saying? One aspect is Ifa is saying when Ifa says the awkward man, Ifa is actually referencing that this man was not the guy who was poking his chest out. He wasn't the dude that was the flashy guy, or he wasn't the individual who was always moving with the high speed crowd. He was actually quite meek. He was a individual who was humble. He was a very calm and chill individual. Interestingly enough, this world, we look at individuals like that as awkward. I keep thinking about Issa's show called Insecure, and before her show was Insecure, she had a show on the internet called awkward black girl. And interestingly enough, me and my wife are watching the show. We've been watching the back issues of the show because we're waiting for the new show to come. So Issa, please, we're waiting, we can't wait. So I know so many of us really appreciate that show, but interestingly enough, we're looking at the first season, and Issa is an awkward black girl, but her boyfriend in that space was an awkward black man. Interestingly enough, and he was making some missteps along the way, but he really had a good heart. He had a good space, but he wasn't showing up in the way that he needed to. But what Ifa is saying is that the level of awkwardness is also analogous to meekness and humble. The ability to be meek and humble, because you're not going to win the race by poking your chest out, and also you're not going to win by telling everybody, "Hey, I'm the hot one out here." No, the reality of it is, as men, is that we, as I said, are the physical or outward representation of this powerful source. So what does that mean? That means men oftentimes are judged by their actions. What do you do? What are you doing when nobody else is looking? Are you doing the right thing all the time? So in essence, good men are judged by having good character. So when we talk about all this, we've been talking so much about masculinity, and I want to talk about why is the male principle important. Ifa says it is. In the Odu Ifa Osa Turupon, Ifa says, Alolo yang, Difa fun ogo bing obi. Cast Ifa for the penis that was carrying children from heaven to earth. He was advised to offer Ebo. He complied. Alolo yan, cast Ifa for the barren woman, when she was weeping a lamentation of her inability to give birth to a child. She was weeping because she had no child to tie to her back. She was using her hands to rub camwood, and she was using her camwood to rub wood. She was advised to offer Ebo. She complied. Now, how is it that children come into this world? Who brings children into this world? Ogo, bing, obi, the penis. That is how children come into this world. Men bring children into this world.
That's right.
When we look at this, what Ifa is saying, Ifa is not denying the aspect of the womb. Ifa is merely saying that it as Ling Q, the rapper, she said, forget the ego. It takes a woman and a man. It takes Isheshe. It takes the male principle and the female principle in order to create life, to procreate life. And isn't that the thing that is absolutely important? Is the ability to create life, to give birth, to continue the legacy. And in this process, we cannot, when we talk about the Odu Ifa, Ogundaleni, or I believe the Ogunda Warming, Ifa says, what is a sheshe? And a sheshe, it is the sheshe of one's father's lineage. It is the sheshe of the male principle, the masculine principle. It is the sheshe of the female principle. It is a sheshe we ought to appease before appeasing any orisha. So when we look at this, what are our closest representations of Olodumare on this earth? Our closest representations are mother and father, period. And what often happens is that aspect is downplayed. We don't get a chance to really see the importance of what that masculine principle is bringing into the world for us. So now let us see how important that divine masculine principle is. In the Odu Ifa Erete Otura, Ifa says, while the youths eat the bones in training, it is the elders who eat the fleshy part after graduating. This was the Ifa for the mother who was going to offer a bow for her child ahead of time. And this was the Ifa cast for the father who was going to offer a bow for his children ahead of time.
Okay.
It is indeed one's mother who is the harbinger of their success. My mother offered a bow for me, and I became successful. So indeed, it is one's mother who is the harbinger of one's success. Indeed, one's father is the harbinger of one's wealth. My father offered a bow for me for wealth before I was born. And when I was born, I became wealthy. My father, one's father, is indeed the source of one's wealth.
Okay.
So when we look at this, Ifa is saying that the male principle and the female principle, both are so very important, particularly in nurturing and giving birth to a child. And in that, it is also important before that child is born that the parents need to be offering a bow for that child's life. And then oftentimes when we perform Esentaye, there will be messages that are for that child, but they'll also be for the parents.
Okay.
So Ifa is saying on so many levels that men are important. Women are important. When we talk about their proper position, we have to be very aware that men are the physical or outward representation, while oftentimes the women are the internal. They are literally the infrastructure, the details
Okay.
that give that outward structure something to stand on. So as men, we need to also remember the significance of women. Now let's talk about fatherhood. When we talk of Ifa and fatherhood, Ifa says that there are many ways to be a parent. One way that you can be a parent is by adoption. You can adopt children. You can have children by marriage. You marry a spouse who has children, that child is your child.
Okay.
You can have children that are community children. You can have children, of course, biologically. And you can have spiritual children that you teach spiritual things to, Ifa, all of those things. All of those things are things that you can definitely have children in all of those various interesting ways. So that's so very important to know. Now let's analyze, what does Ifa say in terms of raising these children? How do you raise them? How do you know what's going on to give them that right and exact information? And also, what happens, let's say, if you have a child either by marriage you are not a step parent.
No.
There's no such thing as a stepfather in
Okay.
essence. It's just a father.
Hello.
From the African sense, there's no stepmother.
Ashe.
That's just a mother.
Ashe.
So this Ifa comes from Osameji. It says Agbado o Yeluwa ko room leyin eshu difa fun Obatala when he was going to take Eshuodara as his son. He was advised to offer. He complied. Now, why won't you let Bara into the house? If you let Bara into the house, you will be blessed. Can't you see the baton, that Bara is holding in his hand? Those who offer good abo, they will be blessed with prosperity and good spouse. If you offer abo to Eshu, you will be blessed with prosperity and good things. Now, la topa, Eshu gongo, la topa, Eshu gongo. Travelers to Ipoh and Ofatown, come and join us in the midst of all Ire. Can't you see all Ire of life? On this Odu, the story goes that Obatala was, he basically was casting because he was going to adopt Lanroye, which was also known as Eshuodara. He was going to take that divinity as his child, and in essence, he was like a stepfather, quote unquote, to Lanroye. And what happened is he cast Ifa. Ifa said, if you take this young man during the initial stages, it's going to be a challenge. But eventually, what will occur is this young man will be a great, great, great son to you, and you will eventually become quite wealthy as a result of nurturing him. So Eshuodara as his son. And what happened? Eshuodara took Obatala and Obatala's family and wife through twists, turns, and changes. And there would be times that he would tell Lanroye, look, son, what you need to do, you need to clean up your room. And his son would throw a temper tantrum. And this happened for so very long. Every time he would have his son to do something, his son would not listen to him. I can imagine that there had to be certain times when Lanroye, as he was growing up, turned to Obatala and said, you ain't my daddy. And if he didn't say, you ain't my daddy, some men might be able to identify with the words, you're not my real dad. And I'm sure that Obatala heard that from Lanroye. I'm sure he was ever reminded that he was not Lanroye's real father. But in terms of this, what does Ifa say he should do? Ifa didn't say, okay, now you need to throw that kid out. No. Obatala recognized that this is part of the growth process, and he understood Lanroye and dealt with him accordingly as a child. So this Ifa is telling us as parents that we need to nurture our children accordingly. What is that? That means that when a child is being a child, you just discipline them. It doesn't mean that is the end all be all. This is something that goes out to the parents who are step parents. You don't take those situations so personally.
Sure.
Because what Ifa is saying on Osameji is eventually, if you do right, that child will come back with rewards for you. When there's a Bible verse that says, train up a child in the way he or she should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Ifa is saying the same thing here. Obatala, train Lanroye in the way he should go. And then when he is old enough, he will not disappoint you. He will not betray the legacy. So when we think about this as parents, what we should be doing as fathers, what we should be doing is raising our children as if they are reflections of us. And this means all of our children. That means our community children. That means our spiritual marriage. We them the same, and we should also be treating them in a way where they're nurtured in such a way that they will eventually honor to your name. Sometimes I know, like when you why I'm showing you what bitter leaf looks like today at 6. You won't understand that. But when you are 26, when you're 30, you'll understand completely. Deep enough. When you get to be 40, you'll completely understand the significance of bitter leaf. So you train them in that way. So if I said, as a result of the training that Obatala gave Lanroye, later, when he grew up, Lanroye became a very interesting personality. What did he do? This verse says, why won't you let Bara into the house? Can't you see the baton that Bara is holding in his hand? So what Eshu Odara was doing was he would go, and when he would see people along the way, he had a baton in his hand. This is the weapon of Eshu. And he held this baton in his hand, and he would basically strong arm people for blessings. Like, look, you want this car? You give me something, and I'll bless you. Come on, don't you want this blessing? But he had a baton in his hand the whole time, and he would basically strong arm them. They would give Eshu Odara Ebo, and then he would bless them. But what would Eshu Odara do? He would take all those blessings that he received, all those offering materials, and he would give them to Obatala. So as Eshu Odara got older, Lanroye, got older, he then was thinking, Obatala has nurtured me from birth. He has nurtured me from a very young age. He treated me like I was his own. So now I'm old and I can make him successful. So that is what I'll do. And that's in essence what he did. Eshu Odara then made Obatala successful. So what are we saying in a nutshell? Ifa is giving us as men, as fathers, as husbands, as brothers, as uncles. It's giving us a blueprint of what are correct activities, actions that we should exhibit in order to not only find, follow, and fulfill our destiny, but to do that, but to do it in a specifically stylistic way where we make more people smile than we make cry. When we talk about the term Shekunderin, which is the group that this temple is under, Shekunderin basically means it's a name of a Rumila, and it basically means the one who made smiles, or the one that turned tears into laughter, the one that transformed sorrow and suffering into joy. So Ifa is saying that what we need to be able to do as men is be able to do that, is to exhibit good character and to leave a powerful legacy, a powerful positive effect on the world, on our children, on our women, on humanity, on all of humanity. So I put a charge out to all of the men out there to exhibit humility, to also exhibit leadership, because good leadership oftentimes makes wise decisions that are very difficult that everyone else, cannot see. Everybody will not always agree with you as men, but we must conduct ourselves in ways that if everyone doesn't agree with us, or if people don't agree with us, we have to conduct ourselves in ways that people will respect us. So the key is to live a life that has integrity. Integrity is also good character. So as we close with this sermon, I just put it out there to men. Please seek wise counsel. Seek good men that you can use as examples. Because as men, that's something that we need. I mentioned at least 5 that I look to. And I ask all of us as men to find, let's just say, find 3 good men that you can identify with, that you can use as a source and a help, so that it will assist you in elevating your life and living your destiny. Aboro Aboye. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. This has been an especially rich discussion. So as we close, what I wanted to mention is a couple of things. So we've cast Itarogun. We cast Itarogun today. Itarogun came in Ire. It was Oworin Irosun, and it came in the Ire of long life. So interestingly enough, one of the highlights of that Ifa is that much of the focus of this Odu is around Apetebi. Apetebi are going to be very, very, very important on this Ifa. So I will post the messages on the website. So if you're interested in participating in the Itarogun Ebo, you can contribute there. Also, I'm going to be posting flyers on the temple website regarding next week, which is our Odun Ifa. So if you want to contribute to Odun Ifa, you can do it through Temple Oturtuka. So that will be how you contribute to Odun Ifa, but not Itarogun. Hopefully it's not confusing. I'll post the flyer on the website though. But if you'd like to be involved in that, you can do that there. Also, I want to make 2 other announcements. One announcement is that if you would like to participate in our Ifa class, we do Ifa class every Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we've been working on a series called Ifa and How Do I Live a Healthy Life? So we've been focusing on proactive solutions to mental health, spiritual health, physical health. And we're touching on all of those areas. So if you are interested, you can go to our Idin Ka Ifa Temple page and you'll be able to get more information. And the final class for that series is going to be on this Friday. On the last announcement that I wanted to make, which completely relates to this temple topic today, the makings of a man. I am going to hold not just a class, but kind of like a study group for men in particular, for men, and it is going to be in the month of July. We're going to start it, and the title of that series is The Makings of Men. The Makings of Men. So what we're focusing on is much of what we discussed today. How, and also I want to focus on that for men, how to be good men that practice Ifa. How do you do that? And we'll talk about processes. And I want to do things in that group where it's basically a men's egg bay, where we just have the opportunity as men to sit and talk and heal, so that we can be the leadership and the transformative individuals that we need to be, the protectors, the healers, the wise men that this community needs, because we need that. We need wise men. We don't need fools. We don't need idiots to be out here leading the community. Olodumare knows we have plenty of those.
Yes.
So we want to change that. So thank you all once again for tuning in. And if you feel so inclined, if you are interested in making a donation or becoming a member of Idin Ifa Temple, you can go to the temple website. It's listed here at the bottom, and you can tap in with us there. We got a lot of really great positive things that we want to do for this coming summer. So we look forward to seeing you, and hopefully we'll be having in-person meetings. I won't say exactly when. We're still looking for a location. So if folks have any suggestions on locations, please tap in with me. Let me know so that we can work that out. And thank you so much once again. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. All the fathers, happy Father's Day. Olodumare, we pray that you would continue to ward off all death, ward off sickness, cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and outright fights from us. Bring to us long life, healing, joy. Help us to truly see the effective aspect of good men. Let us see good men for a change. In abundance.
Yes.
And those of us who are men, help us to be good men. Thank you so much for your blessings. We look forward to seeing each other the next time. So, Abora Aboye, we'll see you next month. Thank you all so much. Ashe. All right, thank y'all so much. Good to see you. Hey, Taylor Crumpkin, respect. TR Kelly, I see you. Thank y'all so much. All right, thank you all so much.
My man is no encouragement today.
All right.
Hey. Bobby, you did that.
Thank you.
Hey.
But I say no, the prayer I'll be doing, that's like you. If you don't get
Ozabo.
believe me, you know, can't nothing. I go back there, I know the sauce. I go back there, I know the shine. But if you can't see me, can't you show more? If you can't, you go outside, so go. But not to win. Never let go. It's gotta let the light in you show. But I go to Bobby, no. Oh, yeah. Mama,